Alright, I am Shadow of Shadow Gaming. Today I'm bringing you the Monster Hunter World Retrospective. This is my look back at Monster Hunter World and talk about how the game, or talk about the game. Let's begin. So the begin had two characters, but my second one became by far farther along than my first one. So we'll go with the second one. So right off the bat, Monster Hunter had really good sound and music. I felt like it was one of the strongest points of the game. And again, the worlds here felt like they did a really good job on the design and all the background and giving everything a good feel. We'll begin with some statistics first. Look at my hunter card here. So, we did a couple quests, about 700, and 600 more, so about 1300 or so. Here's where we'd like to start those weapons. As you can see, my favorite weapons here were these. I've tried some of these on the other character. It had at least a decent smattering of everything. And my favorite weapon though is greatsword. Even though you can't tell it by the longsword usage, greatsword's my favorite weapon on the game. I guess judging by this, longsword's my second favorite. I would have said sword and shield. Shield my personal pick, but looks like it probably is longsword. Some of the other ones like hammer's special case because that was my main weapon on my other account, so special case. Lance, I played around with it, but just not my. It's not my fighting style. Gun lance, and well, I didn't give switch axe or hunting horn. I didn't give them a good sample on this one. I think both of them are like 3 or 4 uses on the other one. So I don't have any good feel on them. Charge blade felt wonderful in this game. I only started using it here toward the end though, so I don't have a good feel for it. Far as the feel, as far as the weapon feel though, I really liked it and highly. It would have been a high recommendation. Wish I had used it a little more. Some of these others, insect glaive, it feels like it would be fun, but it just didn't feel like it was. I felt like the other weapons did more damage. That was the complete reason why. And this is all my opinion, by the way. So somebody that has more experience with it could probably have done a lot better. The bows, that's just not my fighting style. Like bow guns and heavy bow guns, just or not my fighting style. I like the melee weapons for the most part. So the top ones here, dual blades. The dual blades, I often call them swords, so I'll mix that up here in a minute. But dual blades, they feel good. When you're using them, it feels like you're hitting hard and fast. That's what they're doing. The reason they're so much lower than the other 3 is because when I was going about and using them, I'd run into the problem of suddenly I'm taking way too much damage in master rank. So most of that usage there, I use dual sword pretty exclusively through low rank on this one. So low rank and high rank. And once you got into master rank, you actually needed to dodge, and dual blades didn't do it for me. That's where sword and shield shined. For me, sword and shield and greatsword have the perfect setup for dodging. That was my fighting style. Go figure, it's the two with a guard, with an actual guard, was the ones I used to dodge the most. And sword and shield just feels good in general. They did a lot of work in this game from the previous generations. It felt very nice. Like I said, I would have expected it to be my second highest weapon, but apparently it's greatsword's my second highest. Let's talk about longsword. Longsword, not really any problems. I really like the changes. The hardest thing with longsword was not hitting your teammates. Not really anything bad to say. It felt good and useful. As you can see, I apparently used the most. Finally, greatsword. Greatsword's my personal fighting style. I like the slow hit the target, hit your target hard, and be done with it. That's personally how it fits to me, and that's why I would have expected it to be the top, but apparently not. Let's see what's next. Palicos, yeah. The palico mechanic on this was pretty good. I always liked equipping my palico. Actually don't know what it's equipped with right now. Yeah, so no, I don't have a good equipment on it. I think I have Fantalus weapons, but apparently I don't have them equipped. Um, Good mechanic. Calico was in general pretty good. Talk about Tail Riders for a second. I liked most of the gadgets. Favorites were Vigor Wolf spray and Molotov cocktail. I felt like the choral orchestra and shield spire were more situational, and feel like I should like the traps with the flashfly cage, but like somehow it feels like it always picks the wrong time to use them. I didn't really use Plunder Blade after I got to 15. Like, I was trying to max them out at that point, and I liked the Hell and the Vigor Wolf spray better. The Tail Riders, that was a fun mechanic. I wouldn't want to do it too often, but doing the trades to build up your friendship with them and getting better bonuses was very nice. I really like seeing, especially these two in hunts, because they'll knock the monster down and you can get a lot of damage on a monster very quickly. Let's see, is quest next? No, achievement. Let's come back to achievements. We'll save that for the arena. I didn't do a lot of arena quests, so yeah, I did less than half of them. It looks like maybe even closer to a third. Some of the times were alright, but I won't say wonderful. Arena quests are fun, but you have to be in the mood for them, and I just didn't have time when it first came out, and by the time I came back to play it, it wasn't there. Here's where I would like to talk about for quite a bit, though. The hunting log, or the large monsters. For some of these, I haven't done a lot of hunts. Like, I've only slayed one Leshen and two behemoths, so not a lot. You can see I haven't even maxed research level on them. I felt quite a bit of. I thought like the monsters on this game were really good. How many are pages? 8 pages of 9, so 72. A little less. I think there's still 2 monsters. I know there's at least the Sophigia. Maybe all. There's at least a little bit left, but there's a ton of monsters in the game. And most of them were really fun. Could go through and talk about them, but I don't really think I want to do that. See which ones have the 56, 68, 68 UK, maybe up there. 59 Tobukadachi, 80 Ajanath, a lot of Raytheon. What is that? 91 Raytheon, so that might be the most cunning monster. Ogeron, Rafflos, 109. Most of that was for Rafflos rubies. 51 Korean. That's a lot of Korean. Yes, I fought quite a few monsters. I've only done one of them. It doesn't even show I've slayed it. Maybe maybe it just repelled it. I think it slayed it. Yeah, they're 100 Nergigante even. That's a lot. That was all for the Gold Crown smallest. Yeah, I don't think anything's going to beat the Raffles, it looks like. A lot more Yungruga than I thought I did. I wouldn't have figured it was that high. I got real good luck with some of these here in my rank. Look at them. Just, there's 6 captures. Just did 10 Ruiner Nergigante for the crowns. I've had good luck here. The Brute Tigrex. There's a quest that gets Brute Tigrex, so it got that both ones, but I think the quest is 50-50. Yeah, I've done a lot of hunts. Looking through the list, I would say my favorite monster in general was the Odogaron. So it's a new monster, so that's always a good sign when new monsters are keeping up with classics like with Rathalos and Rathian. Nargacuga. I felt like this one had really good, like its attacks felt good to fight against. It felt like you were actually dodging. It was the first time in the story that the story started getting a little more difficult. Up to that point, I think on my first playthrough, this was the first time I actually used a Mega Potion in the story. So, so it was like the first time I was doing damage, first time or actually dodging really made sense. And it was a fun fight and one of my favorites. Had my favorite mission in low rank and probably my favorite in the whole game. We'll not look at it in a little bit. Let's see. My least favorite, and again, it's my opinion, was Lunestra. I just don't understand the fight. Every time I'd fight it, it's like something didn't come together. I would always be taking a lot of damage, even going back to fighting for high rank ones. I just don't understand the fight good enough to say it's a fun fight, which is odd because I actually like Totestra. Elstra. Lunestra, though, I would be my pick for my least favorite fight. Although Kultivov and Lechen might be up there. Honorable mention here was Alaltrian. So I actually hunted a lot of these, 16 here. What had happened was I actually had really good luck and actually beat the first one I hunted. I was within a group, so that helped. But we beat the first one we hunted, and then we proceeded to lose to the next 6 monsters before we got in the hang of it and got to actually using elements correctly. We got lucky and then did some learning. After we got it though, this is one of the funner fights. Very fast, hits very hard, but the fight comes together very nice. Let's see. Let's do special just on Elder Dragons. So there's a lot of Elder Dragons in the game. My favorite is maybe the Black Vel'Hazak, but the Vel'Hazak itself. To me, this feels like a really good monster. Looking through, Nergigante has an interesting mechanics as well, but this one felt like a brand new mechanic I hadn't dealt with before, and that felt really nice. And the first time you fought it, it was a decently hard fight, but it came together pretty quickly. You see, I had to slay 56 here to get the crowns. I would say it was a very enjoyable Elder, a very good addition to the mainstays here. Nergigante is also good as well. Elkana wasn't real good. I didn't. Xeno'jiiva's alright. I wouldn't say it's up at the same level as some of the other elders though. Elkana was pretty hot. I did not like the Shara. all the that was for or that was because I kept dying against it, not for any good reason. Nominal, it was all right. Other elves, Fenris and Elantra. Yeah, so yeah, so I would say Valhazak's pretty definitely my favorite Elder Dragon. Honorable mention here is for returning monsters. I felt like the Brachiodeos really had a good fight in World over anything before it. Like, I felt like it was a really good fight. Worked, really worked. I didn't personally find blast weapons to be all that great, but the fight was really good. And Brachiodeos, congrats. It felt better than in previous generations. Can't say the same thing for Tigrex or Brute Tigrex. I fought a lot of Raytheon and Rathalos. They felt good fights as well. Diablos, I felt like this was an easier fight, so I won't say it was my favorite fight, but I would say it felt easier than previous generations. While Rathalos, on the other hand, felt harder. So, I'd say my favorite flying monster probably was Rathalos. The Legiona here. I actually find Puke enjoyable. Raytheon are always fun. I think for flying, though, Rathalos probably had it. Wasn't Basilgeuse. Rathalos were alright. Yeah, I would say it's Rathalos. Just looking through to make sure, but I always liked Jingaruga as well. Jingaruga or Rathalos, but I would say Rathalos. As far as for that, I probably liked the regular the best. Raytheon, I actually enjoyed the Gold Raytheon fights. That it felt like that really scaled up nicely. Silver Rathalos felt like it was too fast for its own good. I didn't think it felt like as epic a fight as it did in older games. Anything I'd like. And my favorite new monster, well, it's got to be the Odogaron one because it's my favorite new monster. But other ones I liked, Puke was real nice. These were there. I won't say they weren't spectacular, but they were fun fights. So I would say it had a good starting point. I would say the Great Jaguar was in a great position. A lot of the older games that tends to have like a Velocidrome or Great Jaguar, stuff like that. I felt like, or Great Jaggy. I felt like the Great Jaguar here was a very nice intro to fighting, and it felt like it came together really. Duratotus, I fought a ton of them. It was one of the best water weapons for Iceborne. Kobikadachi, I think this is its introduction. It was an alright monster. A lot of my hunting group thought it, or didn't like fighting it, but I always found it pretty fun. Aginath, same thing. About 80 of them. Whenever I'd make a new weapon, a lot of times I'd go test it on one of them. What else is new? Ziki Yaku, Voluma. I won't say they're my favorite monsters ever was. They're alright though. Voluma, or Paloma, it had a really nice, like, its transition into the air was really nice. Again, I use great swords, so being in the air is not a good thing. Great Gyros, I felt like is a great Gyro, so good enough fight. Protobon, I didn't enjoy fighting it, but it was a good fight. It felt like a good mid-rank monster. Gets you set up for the Legiana and Odogaron, which feel like the high edges of the monsters. Legiana is a really good new fight. Odogaron, like I said, it's my favorite of the new fights, and I feel like everything just comes together perfectly for its fight. It was my first difficulty spike at least. Thor Mindress is the stereotypical giant monster in Monster Hunter. I don't enjoy fighting it, but it was an alright. I don't generally enjoy other large ones either. They're more of you fight it to be epic, not because it's a fun fight. Dodogama. It wasn't. I didn't find it as all that interesting. It feels like Great Jagger again. A starting monster to explore an area with, I guess, would be the way to say that. Puzzle geese. They annoyed me, but I never found them bad. Some of the monsters found them, or some of my or the ones I play with found it to be found them to be a nuisance. I don't know if I ever noticed that, but I tended to carry dung bombs and just run them off. All these are referring. Nergigante, a really good elder. I think the best elder was Valhazak, but again, Nergigante had more character to it. It was chasing elder dragons around. It felt like a good fight. Very enjoyable. Good, great elder dragon. Valhazak, same thing. Cool Taroth. I didn't enjoy this one all that much. I only fought a couple of them. Enough to get the research level, but I didn't really go much further than. I think their mechanic was to get weapons, but again, I didn't invest that much. Xeno'jiiva, like I said, it's not my favorite Elder Dragon, but it was a good final fight, actual boss of the original story. Felt like a good spot. Beotodus. Beotodus was a wonderful starting monster for Iceborne. It had a huge difficulty spike, but it wasn't so hard that you couldn't overcome it. It felt like a great introduction to Master Rank. Benbaro, Kadachi. I like poison types, so always a good thing for me. Actually, Paloma. I felt like I'd liked it less, but I don't like being put to sleep. Or PQPK. That was the hardest monster or hardest step up in a monster, in my opinion, from regular PQPK, which was one of my favorite fights. And like Ageneth, I would just test out new weapons on it. I didn't find Coral PKPKs as fun for that. I felt like it was a harder fight, so I didn't do that at all. Glavius of Venus. I liked it and the acidic versions. Both of them were pretty good fights. So great new monster. Freaking Legiana. I really didn't find that they were that much different than a regular one. Especially in comparison to the Fulguragenath and the Ebony Odogoron. Those felt like great new monster, or great variants of the monster. Like, they felt like they really had a steep step up. Like the Fulguragenath. First time we fought it, it wasn't me. But one of them in our group, or died, or he'd come in the room, die, come in the room, die, and did that 3 times. And I had to retry it, but it felt like it was interesting, and maybe that wasn't the most favorite thing, but it felt good. And Velkhana was a great in-game boss. I guess not technically in the game, but the culmination of where the story was building up to. It felt like a great fight. Great new addition. Eating basil geese. Both of these were alright. I didn't find them that major a difference from their counterparts. Aminala. It was an alright Elder Dragon. Liked it alright, but I won't say it was my favorite. Savage Deviljho is not it's a recurrent or returning, but I was like, this one made it feel like a much better fight. Last time I really fought these was in 3, so I'd had some time. I'd really fought Savage Deviljho trying to make one such. Ruiner Nergigante, it felt like a harder version of a regular. Garage Valva, it felt like a hard fight. I don't think I even now I feel like it would be the one I'd be most likely to die to of these. As far as the fight itself, I actually liked the rock part of it. Once it got out, it felt like it was trying to. It felt like it was hard to predict what was going to happen. Probably if I'd done more fights, I only got 6. So if we'd done more, probably would have gotten better and I'd have liked it. But to me, it felt like one of the. It felt like harder, and didn't see a lot of benefit to its armor. Guardian Garugas, basically Yingaruga. Um, Raging Brachiodeos. This was a hard fight. This was a real major step up as well. I felt like it was actually pretty nice. I hadn't really seen a fight like that before. I don't think I've seen one where they trap you or the fight conditions change midway. That's pretty good and uh, I like Brachiodeos alright. Felt like a good fight. Good addition. I don't think Furious Rajang's a repeat. Like I think it's a repeat. I think it's from previous generations. And I like Raging Brachiodeos. I don't know if I ever fought one, but I do think they were in previous generations. So these may not be new. Frostspring Barrier. I don't remember if it's new. Again, it felt a lot like a Barrier. I didn't fight a ton of them. I fought enough to make its armor and make one weapon. Behemoth and Leshen. If I'd done more Behemoth fights, I think I might have liked them, but I didn't get that far in. Same thing with Leshen. I did one to say I completed one. I think there's an Ancient Leshen, so I am missing at least 2 more monsters. But overall, I would say the monster selection and monsters in general were very good. And for returning monsters, Rathos and Raytheon are great. Abos is alright. Baroth. I always enjoy Baroth. They tend to be one of my first armors, and I think they wore on this one as well. Levicia. This was the best Levicia implementation I've seen yet. Deviljho's great coming back. Jurgen. To me, Jurgen's one of the harder regular mainstay fights. No matter how many times I've fought him, I still don't feel like I've got that fight down. So, mention Korean. I fought a ton of Korean. I would say it's one of the top monsters I've done. I actually tend to enjoy Korean. We're going to see here in a minute. My favorite weapon's actually a Korean weapon. I would say they did a good job on this game. I really like when you're in its area when the sky clouds over and the lightning starts coming. Felt like a great fight. I've done that twice now. Davos, Nestron, Todora. Other Barriath and Nargacuga, they felt similar to the previous, which is good because they were good fights. I personally preferred Barriath to Nargacuga, but most of the rest of the group preferred Nargacuga to Barriath. I guess, but fighting 9 and 5 doesn't make that look like that. But in general, I like Barriath better. They feel like a similar fight. Tigrex. I've always found Tigrex to be a harder monster to fight, so just kept the ground on this one. It was one of the more difficult ones. Brachiodeos. I felt like they did a great job adapting Brachiodeos here. Felt like a great fight. Here, Deviljho, as I already mentioned. Zinogre, it felt good to come back. I like the Zinogre. They've always been a good fight. Same thing with Stygian when we get over there. I felt like Yungerga, I wasn't actually expecting it. I'd actually seen most other monsters that were in the game, I think, but now I'd missed Yungerga. I'm glad to see it come back. Felt like a decent fight as well. I liked how sharp its weapons were in older games. I think they were sharp in this one. I have to actually check, I'm not sure. Again, Golden Raytheon felt like a real great addition. Silver Rathos, I felt like something felt off with the fight. Like I said, I think it was too fast. Made it so it had trouble keeping track of the hunter, but I'd have to fight some more to really say for sure. But I felt like the Gold Raytheon did really great. Silver Rathos was alright. Rajang. I personally felt like Rajang fights were easier on this one than they were in previous generations. I actually feel like Rise is actually harder than World on Rajang fights for some reason. Furious Rajang, though, I'm going to see here in just a second. I think it was the hardest quest. Latrian, like I said, we had real good luck on the first one, and then bad luck, and then evened itself out. Tantalus was interesting. I don't think there's any other monster that the group I was hunting with died to as much as Tantalus when we were first learning it. So good, very end of game fight. As one of my favorite arena areas as part of the fight. I think that's all I want to say about monsters, which has been a lot. Let's move on. I want to talk about. Oh, they were alright. As you can see, I haven't even maxed them though, so I am surprised this one's a 1. I feel like I had. Yeah, I had to have it higher than that because I got all the tempered monsters. I don't know why it's 1. This one's a 2. Which one's Rottenvale? I'd have to think. I don't know what monsters are supposed to be in Rottenvale, so that one may be more legit. I don't know why this one's a 1. And I know forest, every time you get the desert up, the forest drops and forth. Maybe if I got them all max, maybe they stayed. I'm not sure. I didn't get that far in. I guess I did quite a few. I don't feel like I got that far in. So that's the general stats. Let's look at some weapons. I felt like they did a great job on the weapons in this game. Load out. Look at my favorite weapon. Find it. There we go. My favorite weapon was the the Imperial Thunder Sword. I think Emperor Thunder Sword. That's a holdover from previous generations. It was my favorite lightning weapon back in Freedom Unite. And I know Greatsword does better with raw damage, so it's actually not all that great of a Greatsword, but I like the look of it. It always felt powerful, and I've always just enjoyed the weapon. So I would say this would be my pick for my favorite weapon. That says a lot out of all the weapons I do have. Here's some I haven't. I don't think there's another honorable mention. I'll have to think on that. Maybe by the end I'll have something else. I really like the Spear Tuna, but again, it's not that wonderful a weapon. There's a better ice one. I usually use the Search. There's a better ice one. Yeah, most likely. My favorite longsword was the Wyvern Blade. This was a good runner-up. These two were Wyvern Blade. Hell, that would have been my favorite longsword. It's a holdover from previous generations as well. It was it and the Luna. I'm not sure it was called Luna. Completely upgraded with. Lunatic Rose was my favorite sword and shield. I'm noticing a trend. A lot of them are tending to be the older ones are my favorites. I liked this one too. Here is one of my most used weapons. So as I'm looking through these, one thing to note is I have a lot of ones that tended to be attribute. I don't actually know if I maxed that one out. The poison. There's another poison. My favorite attribute was poison, or attribute element in general. So a lot of the weapons I made would be poisoned. Now, in general, not all that great as far as a weapon goes, but it always felt like a good weapon. Trying to think if I had a favorite armor by appearance, but I really don't feel like I looked that heavily. I did like the other. Yeah, it was pretty good. One of my most used armors was actually Tigrex armor, and it wasn't for appearance. To me, it's just an armor. I don't feel all that attached either way. It has a really great skill of the skill has a really great skill of earplugs. I will use that a lot. Um, and earplugs probably aren't the best skill to have, but it felt like it saved you a lot, saved you time. And in reality, it's probably a second or two, but it was one of them that feels really nice. I used the Korean armor a ton. I gave it Part Breaker, and you can see Part Breaker 2 there. Of 2. Nargacuga was real good. I love having him evade window and evade defender. I've only got one on this one. One of my armors is more than that. You can see I didn't make too many of these. Most of them were special purpose. Here was really designing an anti-Brachiodeus because I was having trouble getting the crown. Anti-Brachiodeus, I'm saying it has blast resistance, so not all that impressive. But yeah, so I had quite a few weapons. I don't think if there's anything special I wanted to mention. Was I didn't use everything. Some weapons were used a lot more than others, like there. Just compare the defense rating of this one, 174 versus 154 or 180 here. The ones that are upgraded are the ones I actually used some. You can see some of them aren't even in the right order. For the most part, I was rushing here at the last little bit of the game to try to really complete stuff. I like the charm system on this game. Felt like it went well. I'm glad they brought it back in Wilds. I used Handicraft a lot. I never maxed it out. I used Evade Extender a lot. I used Heartbreaker a lot. Weakness Exploit a lot. Wherever earplugs are. I liked the talismans on this, and I felt like they did a good job on them. Charms. And mantles. I like the mantles. My favorites were. I tended to use Vitality, Temporal, and first the Rocksteady. They were my most used. Some of these others I've used a bit, like special occasions, like used Immunity of once in a while. I don't think I've used like Challenger. I don't really feel like I've used it all that much. And down here, the boosters. I used these two a lot. Affinity probably helped, but I never used it all that much. The box system on this game, it felt really good. I liked how gathering items and stuff worked in the game. It felt really nice. I think that's all I wanted to talk about here. Hey, let's do one more thing. Let's switch to Bayatoda. It has does not. Thought it had you didn't get cold, but maybe it didn't. We'll use Bariath. Bariath, and let's equip where's my there. Let's go on a world tour. So starting here in Celiana, again, just looking out at the world, it felt like everything was great. It felt like the map's really well designed and comes together really nicely. I spent most of my time in here. This was my primary base. Looks a little bright here. Come at different times. It can have a little bit of different look. I could see an argument that it's maybe a little washed out, but in reality, it felt pretty good to me. The backgrounds are nice. I like the view here. I like the view from my house. Let's go into Gathering Hub. I actually didn't do all that much anything here at this Gathering Hub. I actually did more at the ship back in Astra. This one was really well designed as well. I like the view outside. I feel like it goes from one to the other, although I don't know how practical that feels. I think cold. Like the view on the outside world. Thought they did a great job with the backgrounds. Not really all that much I want to say out here. Go to the room real quick. Alright. Sure. Oh, this is so well. May not remember how to get to my room from here. I didn't come to these all that often. It was usually to talk to the or housekeeper here. But yeah, I felt like they did a good job. Customized it up some. Maybe a lot. I actually don't. I've at least customized it pretty well. Again, the view's great. There's great views from here. All in all, great world building. Here in the main area of Celiana, it felt like everything was laid out really well. Like you go from one place to the other very quickly, and it flowed nicely. A little side game up at the top was fun enough. I can't think of what it's called, the Steamworks, whatever you call that. It was a fun side mission. All in all, I would say Celiana was my favorite of the hubs. There's two more hubs, however. Astra, which is the original. This is where you first start, and it's big. I feel like everything you can do in Celiana, you can do here as well, but here it's more spread out, and I feel like that's why I like Celiana better. I also like the mountains better than the jungle, but again, that's preference. I like it had a great view here out of the sea, though. I feel like there's another view of the sea you can get. It is really nice. Maybe it's from up top. Everything here was good. The rope lifts to move yourself around really help. I feel like there's another view here somewhere. Yeah, I feel like I like the distance shot like that. Yeah, it is up here. Yeah. This was probably one of my favorite views from here. It was just out over the island edge. Smithy here is up here in the little exit area up here. And you get more good views of the distance. Didn't really come up here all that much. I explored here a little bit. Out here over the sandy plains. Yeah, here's the view. Yeah, you can see the beach, the sand zone over there. I felt like this was the greatest view, and probably how it's intended to be, actually. All in all, I would say a pretty good area. I would say it's my second pick. I would say Celiana is my first because it's more compact. I'm going to hold off going into there just to go on up around our tour. Being here, I've spent a lot of time here making weapons and armor. On over here, you had the canteen. I like coming here for meals. All in all, I would say this was a pretty good area too. I would say Astra was my second pick, though. After I got Celiana, I have not come here all that frequently. That's great aesthetics, though, and I would say a great area. This great hub area. That leads me to the last hub area. I can press the right buttons. The research base. This was my least used. To put it in perspective of how little used it was, I didn't know there was a smith here until very recently. For some reason, I never found this guy, so it was very late in the game before I figured out you could even make armors and stuff here. I was like, I get the aesthetic they were going for, but ups and downs and the path, it just never clicked for me. Looks pretty nice though, as like a extra base for the purpose. The research base, it probably makes good aesthetics sense and good game sense. If I'd played here more, I probably would have liked it as it is smaller and more compact. I just didn't do it, so I don't have that experience, unfortunately. Yeah, that's pretty much all of it. Actually think it has pretty good aesthetics as well. Let me go back to Astro Stera real quick, and let's go to the Gathering Hub. About forgot it. So again, I spent more time here than in the Celiana one, actually. In the different events, it's decorated up depending on which event's happening at the time. So I feel like they did a great job there. Music here in the background. I don't feel like you had a good view for me, I don't think. I don't feel like I've ever paid that much attention to the view, but it's got a decent one. I'd say the watch tower over there is probably better, but it's got a decent view at least. And on up here, I don't think chairs, you can do some arm wrestling. All in all, pretty good gathering hub. Like I said, I spent more time here than I did at the other one, but I spent most of the time in Stera itself. Rooms here, again, these were nice. I actually stayed in the second one the most. I was actually here in this one probably the least. Bench. I actually don't even know how far you can go over. Apparently about to that point. So yeah, so rooms were nice. This one's the nicest room, but I actually didn't spend much time here. All in all, I would say they did a really good job with the different world aesthetics, giving the world a good feel. They did a really great job. Let's talk maps now. I'm going to do these in order of favorites. So again, this is subjective. It's my opinion. Go to low rank just to reduce monster issues. Go to the Wild Spire one. This is my pick for my favorite map. I feel like they did a really great job on the map designs in this game as well. Just starting out here, you have good views here at the very entrance. Trying to get a feel of the area. You can see over here, there's going to be some kind of woods, but don't really have much else open. You're maybe in a canyon, possibly. Then as you crest here, you see, wow, I'm in a desert. What ends up happening, though, is you go down here toward the desert, and your experience is subverted. You instead of coming in the desert, come into a wetland. Like, that felt like it was a great piece of information. I'm not going to explore everything, but let's look around a little bit. Here in the wet valley, the river draining out of the canyons here. Down into the marshy swamp down here. I don't think I've ever even paid attention that you couldn't see out here. So that's actually interesting. So that tells you how good they had the walls and stuff. They've got it laid out good enough. I didn't even pay attention that you can't see out. I was going to look and see what you can see on the edges. Gathering was really good in this. I've done tons of gathering over time. Over here, it looks like a marsh. Maybe there's been. I don't want to page that. Everything's a little dead. Maybe there's a little bit of salt in the marsh. Avoid the monster though. I don't want to fight it. The cave system here was pretty good. Just going with it, it was hard to or starting out, it felt a little hard to navigate, but once you got it down pat, you can make travel really nice in between the different areas. Here's a Raytheon nest in the caves. I really like the caves. On there you can see the little waterfall. Well, there's the waterfall, and you can see it entering in the river down below. Really nice. The desert areas here, and they felt really nice. They feel huge as far as the areas go, but they still felt contained. What, only 3 desert areas actually? And just two desert areas. So yeah, even with the size of it, size of the maps, it felt big even if there's only 2 areas. I would say they did a great job here. Look at this view, out looking over the canyons. Clouds rising in the distance. I would say this is one of the best views in here. We're going to see another good one here in a minute. Down here in the Diablos caves. These weren't my favorite caves, but again, it's fighting a Diablos. Yeah, that's pretty much the Diablos cave. Let's go up to the forest area. Finding all the camps was really fun as well. I found the 11th camp was one of the last ones I actually found, so just going through and trying to find out if you missed any camps was really nice and exploring the edges. I haven't done that in Wild yet, but Wilds yet, but that's an intent for near futures to actually start exploring the worlds a little more rather than just hunting. Here it feels really broken up, but it never felt like that in a fight. It felt like you were always either on top or bottom, and it never felt like you were having to go in between, and I think that's a good thing. And down over here you have a forest area. Hard to really see, but it was a nice, it's reminiscent of older Monster Hunters. So a lot of them you might run into an older forest, and that's what this feels like. Primarily you would fight Raytheon here. Get on down over. I'm going to do one more thing, go up to the peak, and I think that's going to be it for Wildspire Waste. Good little tour. Who knows if I do a bigger tour and actually look in the area and look at how monsters played into them. Look at that view out through there. That's a great view. Go on. If this is your little creek. Here in the caves. This is all kinds of little alcoves, little places you can get into. Low rank material. I grab it anyway, but I don't need it. A hole here you can get down to a monster from. Very nice. I don't really think you ever fought monsters in this part of the map, but it at least felt like a good spot. It's the way up. Yeah, I think. Yeah. View out here is getting pretty good, but let's keep going up. So here's the secret area. A big of a secret, but don't get to see it until you come way up here to the top. Up here you have a great view of the outside area. There's the forest, see the wild spires, and you see down here the flooded lands, the river down there below. There's the Burroth going to its hole. Just looking there at the scale of this though, this is a great view and a great vantage over a lot of the area. There's the Gertotus. I would say this was my favorite place, and this view is one of the greatest views in the place. So let's go to another one. Wait a minute. I don't know why they aren't max. Maybe it's low rank. Maybe low rank because I didn't do a lot of low rank hunts on this monster hunter. This next one, the Wildspire Waste was my favorite. Next, my second was Horfall Street. That's always good when the newcomer is as good as the first editions. Let's go to it now. This is the whole reason for picking Barrier Armor, so I don't have to deal with the cold, but I don't think it actually does that, so unfortunate. The Horsefall Street is the Iceborne DLC. This is its location. Again, once again, you're started off in a great view here in a frozen forest. Trees are a lot bigger, but this is reminiscent of where kind of area you can occasionally see something like this where I live. And theirs isn't that bad, so it'll be there for a little bit of the year. My microphone's blocking my hot drink. It'll be like this for a little bit, but it'll go melt away, and it gives you the good views, but then goes away. Air forests aren't nowhere near this big, but yeah, walking through this forest here, this was like a great first experience. There you can see that I had snow on my boots. Walking through the water washes them off. Great attention to detail. I don't even know if I have my graphics all the way up, and it looks pretty good. The game looks real good even with that. And hot springs here. Secret areas. There's let's go up to this. Now let's take a look here. And this is the feline area. A little bit of swimming here. I think you have a great view. Yeah. Down here, as you're going down the waterfall, you had good views as well. Nice little cave system. Takes us right back out to where we started. May not be where I was thinking of actually, but I like the views of the forest. I felt like they did a really great job here with the background. Yeah, this isn't exactly where I was wanting. But yeah, we're back where we started. Great starting view. Then let's head over to Area 3 and walk through it. I'm fighting the monsters here that we're going to see later. Like the first area, the Ancient Forest. I felt like monsters didn't really go all that far in it. Like I felt like they were sort of in a couple places. Here I felt like the Beatotus here, it's only going to stay in like 2 or 3 areas, but that's all you had open at the time, so it felt like it was going all over the place. Like the deep snow, dealing with it. It didn't lead you to keeping a specific armor on. And in this case, Arieth or something with aquatic mobility. Get over here to places like this and call it that view. Nice shelf, very great, very great. This is my kind of area. I tend to like ice places to begin with. The views from this one, great. You can tell they did a lot of work on the background. Look down there, you see the penguins. I think you can see them moving. Yeah, some movement. Didn't need to go that much into the detail, but I'm glad they did. Up close and detailed, these look like ice chunks of ice. I think they did a great job here as well. I'm not going to go into caves just yet. There's a Dogoron down there. Get up and around instead. And this was one of my favorite views. This is one of my favorite areas to be fighting stuff in as well, as right here. I'm going to head back toward the forest area next. We'll go into the caves in a little bit. There's a Popo about to get eaten. Maybe it's just getting ridden on. I felt like this one was really underused. Like this spot is like a great big open spot. Looks like a great place to do battles, but I really never felt like I fought much. Garage and probably about it. Here, on the other hand, this one looks less like a good spot to me, but did a lot more fights here. I fought tons of stuff here, and just being able to slide on these little hills just little bits and get jump attacks was really great. Let's go on into this cave. No, let's not. This cave's going to loop around to area 4. Let's not do that. Let's instead go over here and go down into the frozen cave. We're going to go deeper into the caves in a moment. First, let's go just in here. Here we have a little ice place, and there's a way out. Go around. Here you would meet the fishermen a lot, so he'll teach you more about fishing. It's little missions. And there's the had really nice little hiding holes like this. Like this one's hard to find, but just a nice place to be. Now we're on the other side of that cave. That cave's right over there. Continuing the tour up here's a base. I actually didn't have any trouble finding that one whatsoever. It looks sort of like it's hidden, but you came in here and that was the first thing I was like, but I can find that, and sure enough there's a cave. Go on up, down. We're saving the bottom because I like the upper world best. I was actually waiting here for sunrise and then the sunset. Sunset, not sunrise. Sunset, and then there's the area. Here's one of the monsters' homes. The woolly mammoth-like monster. Not a woolly mammoth. Why can I not think? It's completely escaped me, but one of its homes, nice little sheltered spot there. So the roof's open, so maybe it's not that. Now we're on the other side of the place that I feel like should have been used more, but it wasn't. Fun Barrow, there we go. That was its hidey hole there. Let's head on up. There was one of the camps you had to come to. The story actually progressed you to there. You didn't get a choice there. And there's this upper area here. This was the most isolated area. Um, yeah, we'll look over. Let's not look over there. We'll come back to that. Go up here first. We're gonna make the loop up top. Hopefully at evening. May not be evening. And this was the Shrieking Legiana's area. This one's a pretty decent battlefield. You really open, really nice, flat. Pretty good battlefield. Used to Wild's keybinds already. Let's hop on up there. So here we got a secret area. See if I can remember how to do this. That. Try that again. If we can't get out that middle one easily. Give this another try. I had this down pat, but apparently I don't anymore. There we go. I think last time I was doing this on a controller, so that may be the difference. Got perfect timing for this little boost here. There we go, now it's not. That's what I was hoping for. Put the honey while I'm here. Oh, max. Yeah, we're slowly making our way up the mountain. Views down right, you can see the little areas down below. Where's my hot? The little monster bones here. The Shalodora shed its skin. Again, here you have a great view down over the forest, down at the ice shelf again. There's Anteka. I don't know if you can see monsters with this one, but you can. Again, that's really nice. I could jump off here and I could probably. I'm not going to, but that looks like it should be possible. Let's continue on up though. Little side exit. Up to the very peak of the mountain. From here again, view's great. You can see the peaks on this side. Down the Velkhana area. Ice shelf. Out to the forest. Really great on the backgrounds aesthetics. This while I'm here. While I'm this close. Up down to area 15. So here you have a good view here though, looking out toward the Velkhana area over there below. I actually didn't like this fishing spot, but I find it hard to see what fish you're actually getting here. All in all, a great overworld. Really happy with this one. From here, you have the little glacier place. You fought Bariathat. I don't think I ever fought another monster here. Maybe a Rajang one time. You have a good view out over the ice shelf again, though. Again, that's one of my favorite views. Down here toward the This area here, I fought a little bit here and there, but never all that much. And here's where I call the volcano area. I don't think I've ever seen another monster down here. If I have, I don't remember it. Again, feels pretty good for a decent final boss. A nice little private battleground. Very enjoyable. Let's head on up and around to area 12. This is the shipwreck. This is required in the story, so you didn't get to see it, but it's a very good ship that came in here and wrecked, and now everything's frozen around it. And up there leads back out, but let's go into the caves instead. So here's the caves. I did a lot of spots here. I would say almost all the caves felt like really good areas. Here I fought many a Bariath. Uh, over here. Or not. Here's back out. This isn't the right. This is the Bariath nest. Now let's go look at the Viper Tobi-Kadachi. We may call this the end. I can climb that. I should pay attention. Most of the time you don't actually move around like that. You follow the monster in this area, so I guess I'm not used to it. Where does that even lead? Farm. Interesting. I don't know that I've ever been down this way. Is this back in the cave? Oh, no, this is okay. Yeah, this is a fishing spot. Again, look at all the detail in the background, the monsters, the penguins there. Fish. I really like how they've done the backgrounds here. See if we can Tobi-Kadachi area though. Battleground, here, let's grab the stones. You can use everything that advantage. I forgot my keybinds already playing World or Wilds. Go on over this way. Yeah, here we go. Done a lot of fishing here. You have these areas down like this. They feel like they're out of place, but again, it feels like a good spot. Viper Tobi-Kadachi lair. Feel like they did a really good job of designing these areas and laying them out for the monsters. All in all, pretty good. A little longer on that tour. I'm gonna try to speed up the remaining. That's pretty much all the area. There's definitely some I missed, but that's the majority. Let's talk about Elder Recess. This is the reason we're adding heat guard to this armor. grab a quick meal. I will do this. Just avoid the crystal door and everything will be fine. Again, you're greeted with this view, which volcano is not my favorite kind of view, but I feel like this is one of the best volcanoes in Monster Hunter. Look at the lightning in the background. I'll always like lightning. And let's go up first, and we'll try to avoid the crystal door. Need to just stop grabbing stuff here and it either. Here and then there's a Urigan area. They're designed for the monster to be rolling and go up the wall and back around. Very nice. I like this place. It actually reminds me of Dragon Age Inquisition, but which one of the games was actually first? Here I probably would have rather seen it at daytime. Push the door. Let's and I know Bell so pieces up there. Let's come up later. Down here though, this is where a lot of the battles tended to happen. Areas are pretty decent. Little bits you can use here and there. And the Spikes area. This is where you fight the Nergigante. It feels very unique. Like I don't think I've been in another Monster Hunter with an area like this, so very nice. Up here's sleeping area. This is also where you hunt the Gold Rathian and Silver Rafflos. I don't really think I have anything much with this. It's a really nice little battleground. Much nicer when they make it bigger. Head down to camp. I want to skip the Gajal. Let's go through it. I probably should skip the Gajala village. Alaka, whatever they are. It's a pretty good camp, at least. There's a little shortcut. All this hot springs. Now let's see why everything's all hot down in the volcano. This one here, again, picking up stuff. I bet I go buy stuff and yeah. So here is my pick for probably the best area to fight something in. This area right here. There's the hill there. If you need to heal, monsters can break the ground and make little jumps. Great spot. This one, much less. I like fighting up here on the hill, but as soon as you get down here to the lava, I feel like it becomes a pain. And the Lovisioth area, it was alright. I'm glad they made Lovisioth easier back in 3 and Freedom Unite. Lovisioth was always one that's hard to get out of the lava, so to me this is the easier and better Lovisioth fight. You have this area here. I feel like this area was always harder to get the monster to stay in the other two. Up here you can see the crystal areas. I did a lot of fights here. The vast majority of monsters probably actually. Let's hop on down. Look at the view out of it. This is not what it is. Oh, it is, yeah. Okay, so here, the first time finding this. I feel like there's somewhere you can go on down from. Let's see where this takes us. Still up top. Bill Bazorgi's coming hero now. Not looking to fight you. It went on. No, this one felt like it had like maybe not the. In my opinion, the background's a little less. You're more of seeing caves, but it felt like these were really good battle areas. Doing it by the door. I'd like to show it off real quick. And hop down and go check the Jurgen spot out as well. Yeah, this one felt like it had more of the battle areas though, rather than the exploration area. Here you would fight a lot of the bigger monsters in the vesting. It's not. Here we're gonna get interrupted, but great view here of the volcano. Probably actually better in the day than the night. See the crystal door down there hiding. See this thing about to ruin my day. Hop on down. I'm glad there's no fall damage. That's so high. I'm not a fan of heights. That's so high. I don't like that. The Jurgen area, it feels really great for Jurgen. I still find Jurgen one of the harder fights. Around here is where I would normally see Brachia Dios though, and it felt like it used this terrain pretty good. Like it's one of the few monsters I'd say that go up there and jump off and try to whack you. Pretty nice behavior. I think that's actually about it. Here's a camp. This doesn't look like a camp. I believe this is a little shortcut. I may not have been here, I'm not sure. Oh, I have been. Yeah, this takes you back up to camp. Okay. So, but yeah, that's pretty much Elder's Recess. Much quicker. It feels like there's less to it, but still felt like areas were great for battle. Couldn't actually make it here to 13, but it's also a good area. It's the Lunestra and Tornestra sleeping area, so good area as well. Anywhere else? What's that? Someone wants to talk to me? Wait a minute. Talk to me. Surprised there's actually someone to talk to. And that's it. I thought I'd actually talk to everyone. But that's the Elder's Recess. Now let's move on to the Coral Highlands. Not that version. It's almost dawn. Let's try to get to the top before dawn. May not be able to make it, and it'll be alright. I'm not going to go over the battlefield maps, but this one has some really great battlefield maps. So this implementation of the Castle Shroud is really great. There's that guy again. Let's try to make it the top real quick. The Celiana supply cache, there wasn't too many missions there, but it was a really great area. Special Arena was my favorite of the regular arenas. Confluence of Fates was a good spot. Some of the others were a little less. I didn't like the Caverns of El Dorado and all that much. Secluded Valley's alright. It's more for the fights rather than the aesthetics. Most of the time you're too busy fighting to care. I think I might make it. I'm either going to make it or be climbing the vine here at dawn. Either way, it's foggy, so you can't see right there. Up here, weather's normal here. Up here, you have the great view of the whole area. You can see the research base over there just floating. And as we get here toward dawn, it's so foggy I can't actually see the ground, but this was one of the greatest areas here. The Korean fight here, the sky will cloud up and it'll be a thunderstorm happening. The moment you defeat the Korean, the sky will clear, and that feels like a great send off for Koreans. Made it here, but now I don't know how long it is till dawn, and I don't think I want to wait. That's all. But yeah, got a good view of the sunrise over in the distance. I think one side's Wild Spire Waste. I think the other's more toward the Elder's Recess. But yeah, so now we're back down here. There's nice little shortcuts here if you had wider mantle you could take. Do a lot of hunts here. The arena down here. Go down there. See if we can avoid. Oh, it's in battle. It will never notice. Yeah, down here through the forest. It felt like these were the main battle areas of this map. I didn't find it all that enjoyable to be bouncing on these, but it was more of a great. It was more of you just had to deal with it while you were there. Not engaging Eurathian. Did. Paloma. Over here. I didn't find this area all that interesting. I wasn't here much. Pretty much just for the Paloma, but good spot to have for yourself. It feels very secluded compared to the rest of the map. Go high, climbing. You can climb around here though, and it really good design, the area. I think anything outside. As far as aesthetics, actually this wasn't my favorite. I see the coral deal, but probably is not my pick. My pick's going to go for the next one, which is the Rotten Vale, but all in all, this one felt like I actually did more fights here and got more experienced with it, so it's a little higher than the Rotten Vale, but I would say the Rotten Vale in general I liked a little better. Like down here though, this is a great area. Didn't do a lot of monsters here, but I guess it's coral here you're walking through, and everything just fits together nicely here, and feels like a very fantasy-esque area. On here through some seashell-like things. I guess the feels ancient flooded ancient sea was once here maybe. Don't bother me. a view up here. If there's not a, there may not be a view here. Yeah, but this is the Coral Highlands. Let me see if there's any other areas I wanted to at least mention. 14. It would have been an alright one. Let's go up to this one. Let's go up to 11. Here we're sort of in a cave, sort of in a mixed area. Look down there. Up up. Here behind the waterfall though. Exploring this, there, a lot of this areas felt more for exploring rather than fighting. It was alright in moderation. The view out through here, must have been a foggy time because usually you can see a little more than yeah. Now we're back here. But yeah, that's the Coral Highlands. I think I'm going to stop there and move on to the somewhere else. Rotten Vale. Rotten Vale's the area below this. Is the coral and stuff dying out, falling down to the vale again. Sort of the monster graveyard. Probably really like this well. Like I said, I think I did more hunts at Coral Highlands, but I like the Rotten Vale probably. I like the feel of it probably better, but I probably did more hunts. Here, look up there. But this is sort of what far beneath the Coral Highlands. Probably gonna have to deal with the rotor bomb, but with it. I don't have a lot to say here. These were areas you were at. They were more of just an upper area. You didn't feel that much with them. They're just like your standard combat areas. Down here, area 1, I think that'll do. Yeah, we're gonna miss area 2, but basically it's like a fighting area of primarily Tigrex. Here's a decent battleground. You can knock this black tap off. See if I can bonds. You can use them to annoy monsters with. Occasionally, you do some damage. Got the Vespoid. Get on down. Down here, you get into the fluvial area. These areas were interesting. This was a new mechanic. I think it's even new. I think this is the first game that had. But yeah, sort of constantly lowers your stat, or yeah, if you don't have certain abilities. I've got the ability on right now to keep that from happening. These felt like they're hard to see here, but these felt like good battlefield areas. Like I said, the Blueveil made it feel like harder fights than they actually are. This feels like a great monster graveyard. Here's Dodogron area. Again, I like Dodogron, so I fought many a monster here. I could continue on, but I'm gonna head around. Let's go look at my favorite spot on one of my favorite spots on the game. Down here at the Acid Lakes. Here, all the dead and dying cause the water to be very unhealthy for you. See there, I've got reduced damage, but I'm still taking damage here, and like that's actually great. I really like the looks of these. Reminds me of Xenoblade, to be honest, but like the glowing blue, the acid vats, if you will. I consider this the Valhazak areas. I don't actually know if there's another monster to even come. You can do some great hunts here. Out to the end here, you get flashbacks to this game. Restock my items, but I don't think I'll get any. Go in the may have to kill some there's some whatever these little monsters are. Yeah, good. Here you can see monsters and say that, and yeah, in some parts of those you can see what the monsters look like. I thought it was here, but maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, this feels like a good ending area. Must be wrong. But basically they're monsters like Balmazar and stuff from 4. It may have been on up to the ledge, but I like the acid pool area and get out through there. It's like just feels like great. Everything comes together. The top's like feels completely separate to the bottom. A lot of the monsters that are at the bottom don't actually rise to the surface. Oh no, I would say this was one of my favorites. Then let's do the last one. I didn't do as much hunts here. Well, I did a bunch, but not as many. Felt like it came together pretty well at least. The idea here was that it has the biomes of all the other biomes together and got the monster hunters in small little sections, and it works well enough for what it is. Load off right over here. Yeah, so you have all the different biomes. Here's the jungle. Down and around, you'll find the desert. We'll come back to it. Jungle area here. Out over here is where you would fight an ogre and monsters like that. There's multiple layers. Here is the top layer, but got monsters here. You got bottom layer here. Everything all sort of just comes together down here. You got the wildfire area over here. This is like the in-between going forest, but becoming drier, and you're transitioning to desert. Gold scale. Not that. And the wildfire area here, mechanics were nice, really good for sliding. I actually don't feel like I ever actually fought a monster over here. Maybe a Paloma, maybe a Diablos. But most of the fights, if they were in the desert, were here. Or over here with the Wraithian. Right. If we can avoid her. Nope. Run. Can't avoid that one either. I don't think I could survive a fireball right now. Do a lot of fights here in this area. But over here. This is quickly moving. So we've moved to the desert, back in the forest. Forest is sort of like the hub. Here's like the Coral Highlands kind of region. Ramanala would primary hunt I've done here. Same kind of aesthetic as the Coral Highlands. I'm gonna go make it here. It's just here. That's what I was hoping for. It just kept me from getting that. I have to take a quick hunt. Yeah, still get it. Okay. That wasn't even the rare item. All in all, Guiding Lands felt pretty good. Let's look at some of the others. Let's put them forward a little more. Get back over here. Hot drink back. So here from the forest, we can head up this vines. Into the Hoarfrost Reach region. Makes a nice loop. Here's a cave. I've primarily fought Viper Tobikadachi in. Feels like a pretty. I like both of these areas. I fought more Stygian Ogre here than anything else. Grab that. Get the view out through there. All the spires. Actually, don't even know if that's facing out toward Wildspire Reach or something else. Probably somewhere. We're on a separate island. So here, this was like the upper region. Go to this camp. Let's go to the lower regions now. This will be the volcano and the Rotten Vale. This probably takes me there. Let's see what this goes. Right into a road. Here's the Rotten Vale. It'd have very similar feel to the last area because what it's designed after. Up here's the second area. Wood to Great Gyros. Actually, but I don't feel like I did many monster hunts. I feel like anytime I was here, the monster would come out like the Rotobon had. I just ended up fighting it elsewhere. You know, on the other hand, I did a ton of hunts in. Where is the ball? Here we go. And here the Wraithian will be sure to come down and join us, but did a ton of hunts here. Monsters fight there in the volcano. I personally liked right here is where I wanted to be fighting if I was going to, but couldn't always make that happen. Here, this is where you fight the Raging Brachiodeos. Pretty much the Guiding Lands. Like, just a quick tour like this, it feels like everything's misplaced and hard to find, but it sort of just flows. A lot of times you would only fight like monster in like a couple areas. Let's do the last area, which is forest. I will say, as far as the worlds go, Ancient Forest was good. I would say it's my pick for my least favorite map fight. Not saying bad or anything, just it's probably my least favorite. Its problem was its size. You could tell they really went for make a large open world map. This is it. The aesthetics again are really good. Again, Forest isn't technically my pick. You hear a full view here out of it a little bit, but when we go through, we'll get to see the real view. It's a great view, actually. It's up here as one of the best views in the game. Now see the oceans. Right here, you can see your whole bay. On over there's Astra and the city. Out here you can see the ocean out at the distant land. I think the Wildfire Waste is on way out up that way. Looking here at the inward, you're looking out at that great tree. That's where you'll go fight Rathlos and things. I actually want the other one, but I actually haven't looked out at this view. And you can see Astra. Nice. Yeah, very good views. A lot of times it feels like it felt like monsters could only go in like a couple areas here. Like here you would fight occasional things. There's Jagger for and just 8 thing. A lot of monsters you just fight in like next two areas, and we're going to see. I really like them. I like them grass like this. Here's the beach. Not going to go down there because those things will fight me for sure. Yeah, great aesthetics here. Then we're in the battle area. I've done many a monster hunt. Got up through here. This is where you fight Raytheon, Tobi Kadachi, and Janath. Down there's you knock Rathlos into. They don't like it when there. This place has good jumps. You can get her very easily. Pretty good aesthetic as well. I like a good forest like this. Over here, I call that the maze, and I don't go in there if I can help it. Here we have the Puke area. There's even a Puke, which I love. See it. Here's the Adjanath area. I'm just using these generally. Other monsters can be here, but these are the ones I've fought in these areas. You can knock this down on monsters. Put a whole herd of Kestodon. Let's head on up first. We'll come back down in the 8. Once you get out into the tree here, it gets hard to really start finding places. It's really easy to get lost, I guess. This is where a lot of times you'll find Rathlos hanging out here in the sun on the ledge. There's a Rathlos scale. head on it. I think this is where the Devil Joe actually sleeps, I believe. On going up. Now we're reaching the crest of the tree. Here is where you would actually start running in the Raffles again. I think usually the Azure Raffles, this is where it starts, I believe. Usually, not all the time. I think I should pick up. Here we have cresting the tree. This again is Raffles area. This would be one of my picks from the best area to fight stuff in. You can knock monsters down here with, you can make them open this and it floods them and washes them down. And down here to that place I said you can knock the Raffles in. Way down below, and it does a lot of damage when it does it as well. I'd say this is one of the stronger areas. Over here you get into the trees a bit more, and it gets a little harder to find your way around. If you look on the map there, it looks a little confusing. Here. We're in the center. Back of the zero area. Bad map again. Dab, Joe. One or the other. With a few giant vigor wasps. Should have captured that actually. Look at that sky. It's great on the background skies as well. Here's one of the battle areas that do not want to engage a Paloma video. Let's cross here. Heading right toward it. Okay. Done several fights here against various things. Looking at the background again. Great background. Into the caves. I always find these caves fairly difficult to navigate. I don't know why, because look how straight that was. I was like, don't know why I find it hard to navigate, but I always do. Here's the Jagra area. Go down here. See their nest. Felt like when I first started, like this felt like you would come down here a lot. It turns out it's only for, I don't think I've ever seen it go down here. Here's back in the caves. We're back out. That's pretty much the view. Down over here real quick. And look out here at that. That's pretty much the world maps. All in all, I'd say they did a great job with the sound, great job with the maps, great job with the hubs, great job with the monsters. But most of the fights are really fun. Most of them are fun. Look at one more thing, and video's long, so will be about it. Head back to Celiana. Let's take a look at the achievements real quickly. I said I would come back to them. Of the light. So to begin with achievements, there are a few multiplayer only achievements, and I don't like those. I feel like that's not a good use of an achievement, but see why you want to push your multiplayer, but don't like them for achievements. For ones that you can get, will always be able to get single player achievements. Not just be me. Oh, wishlist. Wishlist was a great addition to the game. You can see I've got a lot of stuff still wishlist. And not a lot of stuff. It's all talismans. I guess I made almost everything. So let's talk achievements for a So, big achievements are Conqueror of the New World and Conqueror of the Hinterlands. These are the achievements for collecting everything. They would be the equivalent to maybe a platinum trophy, or maybe. So the hardest ones were both in Osborne, so both in Master Rank, go figure. I would say the worst one trying to get was this one. I think it's this. If I have this right, this is one of the endemic life that it's a rare spawn, spawns on clear nights occasionally, and I would say that was the hardest achievement to actually get. Took the most time. Well, I won't say it took the most time. Was the hardest to set up. Most time, grindiest was true large crown. Miniature crown hunter was the runner. This is the achievement for getting the gold crowns. Large and small. That's the most time consuming part of them all. If you look on my achievement, the last one was I actually got was this one, but this one was definitely harder. I had to really spend time doing this one and at the cost of abandoning quest, which didn't contribute to this. So a lot of trade-off there. This one was a late one too, but there was no reason for that. It wasn't that. And there's some variants were found here. Helpful hunter. Like again, I see the reason to push your multiplayer, but I don't like multiplayer only achievements. I recommend. I don't like that. I would say I would give that one, and there's another one of them. I'd say they're the worst just because of that. Treasure. Treasure was actually fun. I didn't think I was going to like the treasure hunt, but it wasn't that bad, and really not hard. The Raiders were nice. Demic Life Crown. Not all that wonderful, but it wasn't hard to get at least. Establish all camps was a fun one. I liked exploring. The Clutch Claw. Clutch Claw is very divisive. I've heard both opinions of liking and disliking. Personally, liked the Clutch Claw. Biggest negative I've heard people say is that it felt like you were wasting your time if you didn't weaken it, and some truth to that, but not all the time. I tended to weaken stuff, but I wouldn't say it was 100% required. It would slow you down if not, though. I'm glad they didn't have raised all the regions. Glad that wasn't. That looks like all here. Let's look at the regular world ones. Yeah, the story. We'll come back to the story. Let's mention it. We'll come back to it. Investigations were great. I always felt like I was maxed out, so I needed to do a better job cleaning them. Arenas, like I said, arena quests, you have to be in the mood for them, and I just couldn't get into the mood. Yeah, fishing. And fishing's not my thing, but if it is, I actually think this one had pretty decent fishing mechanics, so if you like fishing, maybe give it a try. Camouflaging using the maps to your advantage feels like a great use of the game. Picking mount, fly. Living fossil was the hardest of these for me. May not be the hardest in general, but it felt the hardest. Any other ones here? Yeah, I think these are just back into the general once again. When I first started capturing them, I already knew I was going to capture a lot, but I pretty much didn't capture any monsters that you didn't have to up until Master Rank, and then at Master Rank, I think the number of captures probably a good. I had like I had like 600 investigations and probably about 600 other quests total, and I'd say a good 3/4 of them were captured. So I like the capture mechanic. Some people say it's not as fun, but I really don't think I care if it cuts off maybe maybe cuts off the last 3 or 4 minutes of time. It feels like it's fun to me. I've really used the capture and really used it in previous Monster Hunters as well. Here's some more multiplayer ones, and I don't like multiplayer ones, so I would say those weren't the best. But when you can't do those anymore, there's some that won't be available anymore. Not sure. But that's pretty much the achievements. So I'd say, as far as the game to complete the achievements on, pretty rewarding. Expect to spend some time. I probably was on the lower end of time, like 700 hours. I would say I was on the lower end, though. I would say most part it's going to be more than. Finished at 58 or 398. One of them's master, one of them's this one's. So pretty good. Nowhere near max, but I just didn't have the time to max out. All in all, I would say this was a great game. Highly worth playing, and even with the new ones out, this one's still the most complete. I would say between this one and Rise has a different feel than World, and if World was your first one, you probably like World better. I'm not sure I would say I liked World the best of Monster Hunters, but I feel like it's a really great one. I would say it doesn't feel 100% like the older Monster Hunters. I would say Rise actually feels like the successor rather than World, but I would say World was very much worth the play. Very great game. Very much worth playing. That's pretty much it. Like I said, I may, or who knows, if I may choose to do like maybe special videos on maybe a more in-depth look at the places. But if not, the Monster Hunter World Retrospective. This is to put a timestamp on. This is right after Monster Hunter Wilds. It's been out a week at this point. Not very old. But looking back, this is just a time to look back and reflect and remember how good a game World was. Who knows? Maybe in a couple of years we'll have Rise in this condition, ready to do one as well. So if you made it this far, thanks for watching. Have a good day.